Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English, and this is Daily Flash. Yeehaw! Yeah, whippersnappers, how are you? We got us a great show all lined up. Working the floor is blind baby James today, I guess.
Man.
I feel like this outfit.
I feel a little bit about like Ray Charles, man. It's been a long night. All right, I got the word of the day for you.
You can see just like him, huh?
There we go.
Hey, I can see. You know, you got to feel the wrist. You got to feel the wrist.
You'll be feeling something.
All right, just get to the word. God.
The word of the day is nascent.
Nascent.
That's it. Nascent is a formal word used to describe something that is just beginning to exist, or in other words, is recently formed or developed.
Okay. All right, and I don't want you to use that in a sentence. Let's move over now to Matt Doolittle is here also with us.
We would love to nascent your viewership to our website at dailyflashshow.com. Share the show. That's what we need you to do out there. Share it, like it, love it. Subscribe to our YouTube page, and you can send us your comments at flash@dailyflashshow.com, and we'll read them on the air, and Sweet Baby James might reply to you with a sweet baby picture.
He ain't gonna read it. He's wearing this. Are you hot, baby?
I am hot. It's warm in here.
It is a little warm.
Right? Is it not? What Matt and I were talking about this
For
earlier.
once, I'm not
I turned
sweating,
up
but
so
it is warm.
warm.
Yes.
It's because Sweet Baby James is in there with
Well,
a new
that is true.
word of the day.
You're just
Lord
sweating
third.
out whatever's in your system.
Don't look at him. You'll get pregnant.
It's Big Daddy James's new nascent attitude.
Nascent attitude.
His nascent attitude.
Can we get, let's get the AC on here on this show, because we are heating things up. You
Goodness
like how I did
gracious.
that?
Yes. Have you heard the term feral summer?
Feral summer. Now, that would, I've not. I would imagine that is
Feral
where you're just
summer.
going to run around, do whatever you want to do.
No pants.
Bingo, friend.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
A mommy blogger has coined this term, feral summer. It seems to be catching on with parents. You remember back in the day, and I think the four of us can probably relate to this, in that you would go out and play during the summer. You would leave at, when the sun came up, and you wouldn't come home until dinner time.
Oh, till the lights came on.
Till the
Till
lights
the
came
neighborhood.
on, the street lights came on, or you heard your mom hollering your name. But there was no parental supervision. You just kind of went out, you did your thing. Well, now that is making a comeback. Parents are being encouraged to allow their
it's good.
kids to be kids, unstructured, free range, decompress, reset after a year full of
Grain-free.
school, grain-free,
Free range.
free range, GMO.
GMO.
One expert said,
I like it.
Yeah, boredom is good for kids.
Yes, thank you for saying that. It's
Yes.
so true. They need to know that. And because they feel like, all right, I got to be occupied. I got to do something. I got to do something. We had a thing, my kids growing up, you can ask them or any of them, if they go, I'm bored. I go, all right, I need you to go back into the backyard and mow the back or whatever. They, and did that about 3 times each. They would never say I'm bored. They would find something to do.
See?
And to my ex-wife's credit, she's the one that came up with that. It's all right, you tell me you're bored, I'm going to put you to work. Because you ain't going to be bored then.
You ever worked retail?
I love that idea.
If you ever worked retail, the line was, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean.
You
My
got
dad had that
right.
in our restaurants, and on a side note, he only had one chair in the entire restaurant back, and that was his where he did the his stuff, because he's like, you give somebody a seat, they're going to sit down. So they keep that in mind.
And then you got to encourage them to get back up out of the chair.
Right,
Yeah.
and then get them to do something. If they're not standing up, you can at least do that. Back to feral summer. I love
Yes.
this idea. I think it's all. I'm glad that summer's coming up. We're able to do this, and it's
Yeah.
reminiscent. It's like it's just being outside, touching grass. More and more parents need to do this, but we're in this mindset, just like, well, my kid's got to have a phone because I need to know where he's at.
I need to
They
put
have
an AirTag
watches
in his
now.
shoe.
Now
Yeah,
you have air
yeah.
tags. You're right, Matt.
Yeah.
And there's so much other ways that they don't need their phones. You can put an AirTag in their wallet or their shoes.
Yeah, they said that the boredom, which we've discussed, it's a catalyst for creativity and imagination, which I think is very true. They say run, get dirty, take risks versus overparenting, overscheduling, and excessive screen time.
Pickleball had to have been developed by bored somebody.
Ford seniors?
Right? Because this
Ford
is
seniors.
stupid. What can we, let's make up our own game.
Let's come up with ping pong and tennis. But make it a bigger paddle.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, as a parent, what boundaries would you set when
that's
you
a good
have the
question.
kids go? How far would you let? Because back in our day, we would be miles away,
Yeah.
and just come home.
If we ours is
With
for,
no phone.
right.
for
No
my
phone on.
13-year-old, you can't cross 50 is one thing without letting us know. I mean, he's 14 now. He's going to be 14
Yeah.
in next month. So, be home at dark. And just let us, if you do have a phone, just let us know, hey, if you're not going to be over, Arlo's house, you're going to go over to, one of his other friends, just let us
Right.
know. I can still track them. You do that, but we don't necessarily have to do it. And I think it is a coming of age thing. And I think as you get bigger, that radius gets a little bit bigger as well.
I think it forces kids to take risks, make decisions, whether they're good or bad. There are consequences to some of those risks and those decisions. And I think that's good for kids because it does teach them, life is not easy. There is adversity. There can be some tough things. You might have to make some decisions. They might not all be good ones, but that's part of the growing process.
We gotta not be so much of a helicopter
Yeah.
parent. Move away from that. I think if I lived in your neighborhood, I'd be at the spring like every day.
Every
That
day.
place is so
pretty
Mine
neat.
was always
Yeah.
one of 3 basketball courts where they knew they could find us. If my mom needed me, it's one of 3 houses or the main park course. One of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, at least, but they knew that.
Yeah, they knew that. That was it, but it
because
was
back
one
in
of
the
them.
day, that's where, and then occasionally you'd wind up at your girlfriend's house or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
But they, as far as they need it, their state of mind.
As long as you got out the window
Occasionally.
before the dad got home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you need an excuse, you were spending the night at your friend's house, she was spending the night at your
Exactly.
house, and then, everybody was
Just
happy.
as the little brother of a very popular sister in school, make sure little brother knows that's in on the live because
So you can
I only
cover
went a
more.
certain way. Yeah.
Snitches get stitches.
That's absolutely right. Let's jump into some trending stories here. We go to upstate New York where a group of teens there, including the son of a police chief, actually helped save a family from a house fire. This is cool. High schoolers who were not out doing running amok
Feral
and
summer.
pitching woo actually were driving home from their prom and they spotted flames shooting out of the family's garage. Well, they went into action. The video, of course, now they're 17-year-olds. They have to have a camera with
course.
it. This case, okay. They captured the frantic efforts of 17-year-old Aiden Kane. He tries to alert the family inside.
Wow.
Firefighters arrived within minutes and got the blaze under control. Local fire chief praised the group's quick thinking the following day.
Oh,
And the kid,
nice.
his dad was one of the chief captains of police. So, it's good to see stuff like this. And we need to report more on things like this. This is their prom.
Yeah.
And what a great memory, too. Remember that time we hit the prom?
Right.
Yeah.
That's one that you will definitely reflect on 20 years down the
Indeed.
line.
Love hearing that.
I do notice sometimes, like in our neighborhood, some of the teens are more responsible than the adults. Like they'll read rules and they're like, hey, we're not supposed to be down here after blah, blah, blah. Or we're not allowed to bring our dog down here, and the parents are like, whatever. So they're more conscientious sometimes than the parents are.
I think there might be a little more entitlement, I guess, when you start owning things like, land. You're like, well, I
Yeah.
pay my HOA, so I should be able to do this. And the kids has no concept whatsoever. The sign says do not cross,
Yeah.
and I'm doing that.
I think it's also that the kids understand that if they do something wrong, it's going to be videotaped, and the adults don't realize
Oh,
that
that's
there's
a good
cameras
point.
everywhere.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
possible.
kudos to those kids up in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Save the family.
Since ChatGPT's launch in 2022, the AI program has helped users write emails, resumes, and meal plans. Now many are using it for self-glow-up guides. From analyzing photos to recommending products, some users say the bot has become an honest beauty coach. People are posting screenshots of ChatGPT's assessment of their looks, along with suggestions for everything from hair color to Botox. For now, many consumers don't seem to mind the advice. They're just happy someone or something is offering a bit of straight talk.
I think the Chat GPT is, it can be a little misleading sometimes because it's always positive. You basically tell it how to talk to you, which I don't know if I like. Like if I knew, that's why, let me back up a little bit. There's two types of people in this world. I've said this to Matt before. There's New Yorkers, there's LA. LA people will tell you what you want to hear, and
Yep.
New Yorkers will tell you what you need to hear.
Yes, that's a
and
good
if
point.
I could find an amalgam between that, but mine's
That's a
LA.
Midwesterner.
Yeah, there you go,
Yeah.
Midwesterner.
That's Chicago.
But my Chat GPT is completely a LA. I mean, it tells me, "Oh man, that was funny. Oh my gosh, that was great." Because
You look like Brad Pitt.
Yeah. That's what. But if I said just being honest with you, I wonder how honest it would be. Because even sometimes I get typing and I'm thinking mindset because it's so advanced that I think it is real. I don't And then it's also an opinion-based thing if you're hot or not, right?
Oh, well, I suppose people too, I think they're asking for a bit of straight talk. So are we sugarcoating things too much? So maybe that is kind of a window into what people really appreciate. You know, maybe it's not all likes and hearts and follows and recommendations. It's like, oh, you know what? That's not really going to work for you. Maybe that's why we like reality shows too, because there's a lot of stuff that happens on those shows that are not
LA-like, because it's showing us what we want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what you need to hear.
We hope you want to see us, and of course, you can watch us anytime, anywhere on our website.
That is true, dailyflashshow.com. It is open 24/7.
Indeed it is, and we tried to do you right there. We're going to do more Flash coming up around the corner. Today's trends, tomorrow's talk, still to come. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more.
People getting away with murder every day. Now it'd probably be a pretty good time to cash out. I want him dead.
Let's welcome actor, producer, and screenwriter Ciro DiPaggio into this week's Spotlight. What is so sexy about the mob world?
People get to live vicariously through the lens of someone doing something that they'll never do. I think I found a niche on you know, how I saw it through my eyes and how, you know, I translate that to film with my team and bring it to life.
I do want to say congrats on the film Silent Partners. Ronnie Marmo, Joseph D'Onofrio, James Russo. That's a nice lineup.
Yeah, those guys have been in some heavy-duty movies. It came out better than I possibly could have imagined. It was just a real blessing to have it turn out the way that it did.
Watch Ciro DiPaggio and the rest of the very talented cast in Silent Partners, available now on Amazon Prime and all major streaming platforms.
Catch The Scene with Doreen every Wednesday at 38 past the hour, only on Daily Flash.
Air, land, and sea, it's time for a little Flash travel. I'm Mitch English. You know, with the school year over, many families are actually hitting the road for vacation. Some parents, however, go against the grain. They actually travel during the school year. So what impact does that really have on their kids? We got to have an expert, and here to talk to us today is Jamie Davis-Smith. She's a contributor for Business Insider. And Jamie, you know, I think of first off, something as a dad I've learned is buy memories, not things. And so I say that because I look back at all the places my dad used to take us, and it was generally during the summertime is when we did those things, but it was those trips like on the weekend that I've always remembered. You've taken your kids to places like Germany, Iceland, and India. Do they actually think you are probably the coolest mom ever, or were they in for just the in-flight snacks? And how important was it as a parent to let them see the world?
They do enjoy their in-flight snacks. Every time we go on a long flight, I take them to the supermarket and let them pick out some snacks, both for the flight and also to share with local kids we meet. American snacks are very popular abroad, and so they do love the snacks, but I try to use that as a way to help them make connections wherever we are. And then we try the local candy. But I do think they think I'm pretty cool. My son recently told me that at school he's known as the king of vacations, and he loves telling his classmates about where he's been and teaching them about the world through his eyes. So they love it.
I would imagine so, because, you know, after the summer is over, you know, when we were in elementary school and say, tell everybody, come up in front of the class and tell everybody what you did your summer. And a lot of times like, I don't know, we did this, that. But traveling during the school year is a little different because it's still fresh on their mind. However, I would imagine some teachers, they're not all that thrilled about, say, maybe in your travel schedule. Have you ever had to go to the principal's office and say, hey, look, it's a school year. You can't be traveling with your kids during this time? Tell us about that.
Luckily, I've never been called to the principal's office, and neither have my kids. I've learned to just be very matter of fact with the school. I tell them where we're going and when, and I just leave it at that. I have received an email from the school social worker once, just letting me know the importance of education, and I acknowledge the importance of education and just briefly shared how much my kids learn when we're on vacation. And that was the end of it.
Okay, well, that's a good point. How much they learn while they're on vacation. Do you think it's something that maybe more parents should actually be encouraged to do, is take those travel trips during the year, maybe even an extended weekend, or, just, keep it status quo and travel during the summertime?
I think all parents should at least consider taking their kids out of school to travel. Like you said, it doesn't need to be for a week or 2 weeks at a time, but even taking advantage of those long weekends and adding a day on to either end could make a really big impact. I will say I don't think it works for all kids or all schools, so I think all parents should take a close look at that. I'm very fortunate that my kids don't seem to have too hard of a time catching up, particularly as I say in my my story about taking kids out of school. I try not to take them out for too many days at any given time, but a few days here and there throughout the school year, and that works for them. But I think the value is tremendous, and especially being able to travel longer distances during the school year and when there aren't as many crowds. I think travel anytime is great, but if you pick the right time, I think that you can have a lot more flexibility with where you go. And
let me ask you this.
It can be more.
Are there parameters that you have to set up as far as advice goes to your to other parents, like the homework, making sure that they, hey, look, we're going to go out of town? Are there parameters that you think that every parent should consider if they're going to take them out during the school year?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell my kids that school is the most important thing, and that we're very lucky to be able to travel as much as we do, but that school always comes first, and that means they need to keep up with their homework. And on a recent trip to Jordan, my daughter actually wound up staying behind at the hotel while my husband and son and I went out to do some more exploring because she had to finish a project. Sometimes that means doing work on the plane. My son recently had planned to do a presentation also when we got home from Jordan about Petra. And so we kept that top of mind throughout our trip and made sure he was taking notes so that he really was focused on learning and what he could bring back to his school.
And I would imagine that's how kids learn, is actually seeing, touching, and feeling. So if you go out and say, hey, look, we're going during the school year, but we're going to learn something, have like somewhat of a homework assignment, even though you're, across the world. Love these ideas. And your article obviously is going to bring even more out for those that are interested. And if you'd like to find out more information on this, all you have to do is check out our website, dailyflashshow.com. There you'll find this interview and so much more as well.
Right now, Love Missions is working to purchase a 10-acre property right here in Central Florida. It's a place that's more than land. It's a lifeline for survivors of human trafficking.
It'll be a stable home, a space for healing, job training, and a fresh start toward real freedom. But they've got a tight deadline to raise $360,000.
And you can help make it all happen and be part of the survivor's legacy. Visit lovemissions.net or scan the QR code you see right there on your screen.
Every single gift brings lasting hope to someone who truly needs it.
Okay, you guys are going to love this. Gibson Guitars is in search of a famous missing electric guitar from the movie Back to the Future. It is the focus of a new documentary called Lost to the Future, the search for Marty McFly's Back to the Future guitar. Take a look.
Hi, Michael J. Fox. You may know me as Marty McFly.
Leah Thompson here. I played Lorraine McFly in Back to the Future.
There's something very important that all of us are involved with.
We need your help.
We are on the lookout for a missing guitar.
We're trying to find the guitar I played in Back to the Future.
No one's seen that guitar since 1985, and we need to find it.
Somehow, it's vanished.
Erased from existence.
It's somewhere lost in the space-time continuum, or it's in some teamster's garage.
This guitar has been lost to the future.
We're kind of hoping you can help us find it.
Ask your friends, ask your relatives, ask your bandmates.
If you know where it is, if you know who has it, call us, text us.
You can go to losttothefuture.com or call this 800 number below. We need your help.
We'll make a hero out of you.
We will all be so grateful.
We need that guitar.
Michael? Michael? I'm sorry. I'm afraid You're just too darn loud.
Is that you?
Oh, my brother.
This is an important piece of cinema history, cinema memorabilia.
Help us find it. LostToTheFuture.com and give us your hints, your ideas, maybe your sighting.
Or there might be a paradox.
The iconic cherry red Gibson ES-345 guitar featured in the dance scene vanished as filmmakers started working on the sequel back in 1989, and it has not been seen since.
Wow.
The worldwide search invites fans to help find it by submitting tips to the website losttothefuture.com. They've also got a phone number on there if you want to text your clues. Gibson reignited their search for the guitar back in 2009. The Future documentary will feature interviews from the movie's cast and offer a look back in time. It will also dive into some music history and showcase visits to guitar shops and movie prop houses around the world to locate the legendary piece of music and movie history. It is hard to believe, but it is the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future.
That was a tape that was continuously going in my VCR back then. And still, if it's on, I'm watching it.
Yeah, and out of the three, which one's your favorite?
The first one for me.
First one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love 3. 3 is just so much fun. I mean, 1 obviously, 2 is so clunky, but 3, I love 3. I'll watch 3.
Okay.
You know, the interesting thing about this guitar here, which is an iconic scene altogether, is that it's a little bit different how they make movies today. Back then, when they were shooting this film, they went to a music store that rents out guitars, right? Mm-hmm. Or musical instruments. And so they just went down there. It was a place called Norm's Guitar Center, and they rented it. They did it, it's the scene, gave it back. That's why they don't know where this thing's at. It's not like somebody, hey, here's my guitar, use it for the film, because they took it back. There was, as they continued to look, somebody said they had sold it to somebody who had sold somebody who offered $1 million for it.
Wow. Really?
And saying that money has been offered for it. So you could see how precious, because people want this thing so bad, how that it would make for a great story of like where it wound up. And then also too, it comes along with the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, my guess is it's in somebody's garage and they have no idea that it was in the movie. The filmmakers said that that scene in particular inspired a whole new generation of musicians, and now that guitar is really part of music history.
I agree.
Oh,
yeah.
It should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the sad thing is they didn't start taking care of movie memorabilia till the 90s. I mean, I've seen documentaries where Dan Aykroyd went and found the original Ghostbusters car and they restored that.
Oh, yeah.
There's only 1 or 2, and maybe 3 of the original DeLoreans from Back to the Future there. They found one of the sharks from Jaws.
Bruce.
That they used Bruce. It was sitting in a guy's auto yard up in a tree, and they had to buy it off of him and restore it. So this stuff, they didn't take care of it. They didn't care. They repurposed it, and it was junk back in the day to them.
You see that, and this is actually over a broad spectrum of stuff. Antique Roadshow one time found Aerosmith's very first original van that they traveled around in.
No way.
And they found it in the middle of a junkyard, and it had a great story behind it. This guitar is going to make a great story because of who bought it, where it was. Well, we hope a real rich person didn't just buy it and hide it somewhere.
Hide it away. Yeah,
but you know there's a good story behind it.
That is true. Movie still strikes a chord to this day. We still talk about it with great energy. No word yet on a release date for the documentary just yet.
Well, there's not an ending yet, right?
That's right.
So hopefully you can help out. We'll have links on our website at dailyflashshow.com. To be continued, for sure.
To be continued.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everybody. I am Mitch English.
Yes, he is. And I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash. Today's trends, tomorrow's talk. And we also like to talk to our friends all around the globe. And Maddie has his eye on one of our new friends.
Daily Flash is seen all over the world from our streamers on the YouTube page, which make sure you share that because that's important to us. The American Forces Network, and of course, our great 219 stations all over the country. Head to dailyflashshow.com. You can click on the Where to Watch tab, and you can find us and tell your friends where to see us today. Yep. We are mentioning our friends at ADF in Austin,
Austin, Texas.
I love Austin.
Okay, tell me about. I've only I've never been to Austin. I've heard good stuff.
Oh, dude,
like this is a town you've got to check out.
You know how they say Austin's weird? It's weird in a good way. I saw a guy driving around once with 2 cats running around crazily in his car, and I've never been so happy in my entire life.
It's your city, Matt.
They've got a bunch of comic book shops. They got a bunch of nerd toy shops, but it's a lot of creative stuff going on there too, and it's a really chill city.
South by Southwest goes there, and that started off kind of as music, and now it's movies, tech, everything.
The
Kind of like how
food
Sunday
in Austin is.
We love you, Austin.
Yeah.
We love you, love you, love you.
It's a fun way to spend New Year's Eve too. I spend a New Year's Eve in
Yeah.
Austin.
Oh, really?
It's super, super fun.
All
Yeah.
right, Austin, I'm going to have to make that a trip. We'll have to do that for Flash Travel. How about
Definitely.
that? All right, up on the interwebs, everybody's got their advice, and we go to a British etiquette expert who says that we are not eating our bananas correctly.
Oh no.
She says, yes, she put out there and said that you're not supposed to eat bananas with your hands. You're supposed to eat it with cutlery. And by the time that got over here to the pond, across the pond here in the United States, people were freaking out. Now, there is a right way and a wrong way to peel a banana. We all know that, right?
Okay.
We are so used to grabbing what we call the top of a banana, and we do that way. But watch a monkey. And it makes more sense. You flip it upside down, and if you do that, it doesn't break. And that's exactly how monkeys. They don't eat the
They don't take the stem on the top.
They flip it upside down and open it. Try it next time. Your banana will come out perfectly. So when I first saw that, I was like, oh, everybody knows to eat that whole thing about eating a banana, like monkeys do. But she says you're supposed to have cutlery when eating banana. I think of the Seinfeld episode with the candy bar.
Yeah, yes, the candy bar.
Here's the thing, you can do whatever you want with the banana. For guys, sometimes it's difficult. I kind of wish this is.
Man. Look, man, I don't understand.
You get where I'm going. Like holding a banana and eating it in front of somebody is not the most comfortable thing.
Mitch, they call it glizzies too.
I will break it up and eat it in my mouth.
It's like a glizzy.
But I mean,
you guys get where I'm at?
Yeah, I get where you're going.
What are you going to fork and knife a pizza next while you're at it? I mean,
I do.
I don't think you're fork and knife in anything when it doesn't look like you are.
I think she's just bored. I mean, you got to come up with rules to eat a banana. You have severe boredom.
I agree. Yeah.
But I break it off. Yeah, I think everybody does. You break it off.
So
Yeah,
I
break it off.
can't eat a banana. I'm not gonna do it.
No.
No, go ahead.
No, with
Please,
AI.
show us, Mitch. How do you eat a banana,
I am
Mitch?
so uncomfortable.
It's
Do we have a banana in the building?
Yeah. And they said that you should, when you do eat a banana, it's best to eat just half of it because it's so full of sugar.
Oh, I can imagine. I can never. I have to have with peanut butter. That's the only time I can eat.
No.
Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Oh my gosh, it's great. I make Enzo when Eliza's out of town. I have to make him. I call him, and I couldn't get him to eat them. So what I would do is I'll either get apples or bananas. So if it's apples, it's diarrhea boats. I'll get because he likes that creamy peanut butter, and so I cut it up in triangles and I put the peanut butter on it. I knew the kid since he was 10 years old. Okay, so at 10 years old, and so we call him diarrhea boats.
And he responds to diarrhea
because he's a boy.
Yes, okay.
And it's funny.
Yes.
And so I'll say diarrhea discs if he wants the banana.
Wow.
Or boats if he wants the apple.
Apples, right? And you call him right now. What'd you eat? I had some diarrhea boats.
This is how ChatGPT says to eat a banana.
Okay.
Peel it, hold it, take bites, dispose properly.
Right, which I agree.
That's what it
doesn't say anything about fork or knife.
No, it doesn't say that, but it does mention your monkey theory, or the upside down thing. It does say that.
Does ChatGPT prefer crunchy or creamy peanut butter?
Find that out. It's better. It's always crunchy, by the way.
Creamy.
Hey, that's a whole thing.
This is a house divided
The war.
It is. And I have always found women
Crunchy, always crunchy. It just says,
Shut up.
It says always crunchy.
ChatGPT, we are over.
Women like creamy. I think more guys like crunchy.
It's got texture and character. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I am Matt Doolittle. Well, tornadoes, hurricanes, and severe storms have evolved into a year-round threat. Joining us today is former FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate, who is teaming up with Jackery to share some timely public safety information. Welcome, Craig.
Well, thanks for having me, Matt.
So what is one of the biggest problems people are facing during emergencies?
Power outages. We know this in Florida. You guys have seen it. These storms are coming in, and a lot of places, we get the damages. You either get flooded or your home's damaged by the storm. But most people are impacted by the power outages over a large area. And I think that's one of the things we have better options today than when I was in Florida responding to the 04 hurricane season.
So what are some of the safety issues people are facing during emergencies, specifically storms?
If you're in the evacuation zone on the coast, you evacuate. But I think one of the biggest dangers in Florida and a lot of other places, and people underestimate this, is going out right after the storm and not understanding that's the most dangerous time for a lot of people. We get more people who lose their lives in Florida the days after a hurricane because they need to go get supplies. They're going to have to go get gas for their generator, having to go out. And so what we really try to do is get people thinking about preparedness. What do you need to stay in your home, be safe, and if there's no danger, stay home and off the road for the first couple of days. Let the responders and the utility companies do their job and make it safe before you get on the road.
Craig, we know all about those storms. Believe me, we're right here in Florida. So where can we go for more information?
Well, one of the things that we're working on is what are the options for your emergency power? And one of the companies that has approached me, and I'm thrilled because this didn't exist when I was state director, is Jackery. They have information about emergency power supplies that are battery run. They don't require gas. They don't produce carbon monoxide. They're great for people that live in apartments and condos, which there's a lot of that in the Orlando region. And you can go to jackery.com and get more information. Their newest product, the Home Power 3000, is a device that will run your refrigerator. It'll keep all your electronics charged. And one of the things I'm really amazed that people don't get with television is, hey, when the cable goes out and the internet goes out, you guys are still broadcasting. And being able to plug your TV with an antenna, they can still get the news. And that's really critical when they need information in a disaster.
Thanks, Craig. We'll make sure we have this on our website at dailyflashshow.com.
Warmer weather means busier days for parents, and the dairy aisle offers quick, easy options to keep meals simple and the whole family satisfied.
June is Dairy Month and the perfect time to spotlight quick, wholesome meal solutions for busy families. The refrigerated dairy aisle makes it easy.
From string cheese to yogurt, cottage cheese to refrigerated doughs, these are staple items that are going to be your summertime lifesavers. They're perfect for making flatbreads, snacks, and family-friendly sides.
Celebrate June Dairy Month and get more easy, delicious ideas at easyhomemeals.com. That's easyhomemeals.com.
All right, moving along, here's some trending stories here. We go now to a graduate story. University of Buffalo graduate. He defied school officials when he ran across the stage, but he did it because of a promise he made with his young son. Here's what happened. Dad said that he had promised his kid that they would collect his diploma together. Well, he kept that promise despite being told, listen, you can't do it because of safety reasons. Man actually ran on stage after the last names were called, stole the spotlight with his kids. Well, that's when security ran after him during the shock move, not knowing what he had actually planned. Everybody was a little freaked out about that. Rules are rules. Little kid could have got I don't think the kid would ever remember the promise by dad at that age. And rules are rules altogether. I remember when I graduated high school that everybody thought I was going to do something crazy. Yeah. And I was like, y'all, you don't know how hard I worked to get this. I'm not screwing anything because they scare the crap out of you. Of course they do. You know, if you do something, you're not going to get your graduation diploma.
Well, what's a problem with this is that it sort of steals the moment away from everybody. And I think it was more about him snatching the kid from the audience and running off stage with the kid. People didn't know what was going on. Like, it looked like he was kidnapping the kid.
I would probably have thought
Which is why they were running after him.
If you think about it, graduation ceremonies are basically like the end credits of a bad movie. All they do is just like this.
That's right.
Is dedicated to uplifting the communities we serve. Through KSA Cares, we're bringing awareness to the causes that matter most, supporting those who work tirelessly to make a difference. From honoring veterans to championing environmental responsibility, KSA Cares is committed to inspiring positive change. At KSA Entertainment, we're here for the stories that bring us closer. Innovate with us. We can make a difference.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. There's a new movie that's hitting the Tubi streets, and it's about to set the world on fire. Check out Angie's Cure.
If you don't mind me asking, ma'am, what happened to her?
There was a party. Well, for anybody checking, I'm gonna be Alizé. Angie, if we can. Angie, don't be acting all scary.
Ain't that all work?
That's what happens when little girls go to grown-up parties.
Angie!
And here to talk about it, and of course the movie, is writer, producer, and lead actress of Angie's Cure, Lanett Tachel. Hello, Lanett.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Your hair looks beautiful, but how did you wear so many hats in this great show? It looks fantastic. Tell us what Angie's Cure is all about.
Sure, thank you. And yeah, Angie's Cure, it's a story about a young woman who just made one decision that impacted the rest of her life. So a good girl, a lot of people can relate, that was convinced to go out to a party with some friends, a little celebratory before the next step in her life. And then a situation happens at the party and derails everything. Unfortunately, she is attacked at this party, and it basically causes her to develop a fear of men, just a phobia for the rest of her life, and she retreats. And so the movie is about how that retreat led her to have to face her fear in a final moment when the shop is robbed that she works at, and where that leads her in terms of all that fear and trauma that's been repressed, how she expresses it, and what she learns about herself with the robber. So that's the story of Angie's Cure. And it's definitely a thrill ride. It's a journey. It's highly entertaining, but we do explore we do explore generational trauma, and then we explore a lot of unsaid things between a mother and daughter. We discover a lot that goes on that's unsaid in the African American, and not just African American community, between just police relations. And we do cover a lot on both sides. So it's definitely, it's a talk piece, it's a think piece, and it stems from a place of trauma that a lot of people go through.
You know, it's
and
so,
just another way to explore it.
It's so interesting you say that, because I'm a big philosopher of that, and unfortunately I had to learn the hard way that one decision can really change everything. And and it seems like you're dealing with a lot of social issues in that as well, and then also the dynamics of a family. How did you actually tap into her emotional journey? And did you ever say to yourself, listen, am I the monster now? I mean, there's so much that goes on during this and discovery as well.
Well, I think that's kind of like life. I mean, everybody's their own protagonist and their own story in life. And then at some point, you're always justifying why you're doing what you're doing, or at least you're justifying your why. And typically, it takes another sharp, contrasting point of view for you to even determine that your why might not be enough anymore, or that your why might, have a little bit of pushback, or maybe there's something to learn. So I would say that, yeah, there were elements of myself and just of the character exploration where I was like, am I, and I think at some point they blended, like, am I justified? And then when you've already kind of chosen a course, you got to tell yourself, you got to be your own cheerleader. Of course I'm justified in what I'm doing. And you kind of got to stand 10 toes down on that decision.
I cannot buy into that. And it seems like if you watch this movie, you'll be asking that same question, because, when you watch a movie, you put yourself in it sometimes. And I love movies that are able to do this. So great job on it. Again, if you want to find out more, we'll have more details on our website. The movie, you want to check it out, it's called Angie's Cure. We got links on our website at dailyflashshow.com.
Mitch, thank you. Well, let's turn our attention to lifestyle essentials for the entire family. Here is Joanne Butler with the scoop. Hey, Joanne.
Hi, thanks for having me. Well, I am loving these to keep your body supported. They're Futuro Premium Compression Sleeves. With more of us going outdoors, running, biking, walking, these are going to keep your muscles and your joints supported. They're great, especially if you're sore, you have swelling, strains, and sprains, so you can just keep moving. They have ankle, elbow, and knee sleeves with removable stabilizers, ultra soft breathable fabric, no cutout construction, so that's going to reduce chafing. They have a comfort band with silicone beading to help prevent slipping, a 4-way stretch, so you have just ultimate flexibility and range of motion, built to really move with you and keep you comfy all day long. Futuro Premium Compression Sleeves, you can find them right at Target.com, and to learn more about sizing and which sleeve is right for you, go to their website, futuro-usa.com/compression. Next up, America's trusted brand for more than 75 years, Dial. The most iconic brand, they've just launched this new line of healthy hydration body washes, 50% more hydrating moisturizers, coconut milk, shea butter extract, hyaluronic acid. That's going to give you a deep but really gentle clean. Really leaves your skin feeling incredibly soft even after just one shower. And it's a winner of the Product of the Year award in the body wash category, derm tested, pH balanced, paraben, silicone, and cruelty-free under the Leaping Bunny 20 program. Each retails for $5.99 on Target.com. Plus these 2 limited edition antibacterial liquid hand soaps here for summer. Smell amazing. You know, Dial's the #1 doctor recommended antibacterial soap, kills more than 99.9% of bacteria that's encountered in household settings. So great stuff, just $2.47 each on Walmart.com. Another iconic brand, Snuggle here, trusted household name for 40 years. They've just unveiled this new packaging this year. Still the same cuddly, fabulous scent that reminds you of the comforts of home. Just makes you want to roll around and hug your laundry. But the Cuddly Bear just got a little grooming, a little modern makeover, so it's even cuddlier. Fabric softener, dryer sheets, and scent booster crystals that smell amazing. They even have new scent cues to help shoppers while they're shopping. 5 floral scents: Blue Sparkle, Island Hibiscus, Lavender Breeze, Super Fresh Morning Breeze, and Spring Burst. And you can get them right at Amazon.com. Now, last but not least, for the beauty lovers, Lucetta Beauty. This is truly salon quality hair care. Shampoos, conditioners, treatments, and styling products, all made with natural ingredients and just completely free of sulfates, parabens. They're cruelty free, and they target whatever you need, you know, whether you're looking for hydration or volume or repair. Every solution to meet your need at an unbelievable price point. I especially love this rice water line. It's inspired by ancient Chinese hair rituals, packed with vitamins and minerals that really help strengthen, rebuild, and just leave your hair super strong and shiny. And again, price point, amazing. Amazon, CVS, and their website, lucettabeauty.com. Definitely check this out.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. Let's look now at the lifestyles of the rich and famous and dive into some celebrity real estate.
Ooh, here we go. We're going to start with Uncle Jesse, who wants fans to have mercy on his interior decorating. The famed Full House star's California estate is at the market for $13 million. The mansion, which features Penda marble floors and gold-clad toilets, has caused quite a stir online. Stamos built the house in the early 90s at the height of his Full House fame. Features around 8,000 square feet of living space and includes all kinds of 90s designer touches along with crystal chandeliers. The 6-acre property has a pool, terraces with mountain views. The listing notes that there is room for a helicopter pad.
So you have that at
Just
least.
in case.
Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran has found a buyer for a New York City penthouse. Guess what? In just one day.
No way.
Check this out. The real estate mogul listed her 5th Avenue duplex for $12 million. Within 24 hours, the Central Park facing home snapped up in a bidding war. It pushed that well over the asking price. She bought the penthouse in 2015 for $10 million, did a full renovation. The 4,600 square foot penthouse features 5 bathrooms, 5 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a rooftop terrace, and a curved staircase.
Wow.
One of the few original design elements that she actually left in that luxury apartment.
That is stunning. And if pedigree is more your style, this next home has it in spades. It's the former home of the Gucci family, Calvin Klein, and several Italian ambassadors. This 10,000 square foot residence is located right off Central Park. The home's entrance gives way to a grand hall connected to a large living room and dining room. The upper floors include a wood-paneled library with one of the home's 8 wood-burning fireplaces and a master bedroom with 2 large dressing rooms. The property also features 6 bedrooms, including 2 staff rooms downstairs in a 1,600 square foot basement. The home listed for $16 million.
Wow. My home would not have a place for a lot of books. I'd have a library.
A library.
And I would make it, it would be the room that I
For
wanted
all
to
your blackberries?
All my blackberries. It would be a library. And if you have that kind of money to buy a house, you can call the room anything you want.
That is true. And you can put anybody in your house you want, I suppose.
Including us.
Yeah.
Easy way to put us in your house. Go to our website. It's always open at dailyflashshow.com.
Yeah, from all of us, thanks for spending your time with us. For more information, make sure to check out our website. Be good, everybody.
We'll see you when we look at you. Bye-bye.